Minecraft has been around for more than a decade now, and ever since its creation, glitches have been lurking around in the game waiting to be found. Some exploitable, others not so much. So today we'll be looking at the history of these glitches, what they used to look like, and how they evolved into what we see today. This is the history of Minecraft glitches. Alright, let's start all the way back in 2009 when the game is officially released and goes into the classic phase. During Minecraft Classic, there was a unique feature added by Notch that allowed you to press R to save your position, and when you press enter, you could teleport back to that position. Since this was extremely buggy, it didn't take long for people to exploit it. One way to do so was by jumping into the air and setting a save point, then jumping again and pressing enter, which causes you to go higher up than before. Repeating this process will let you ascend into the sky until the game stops you from going any further. But instead of forcing you back to the ground, you're stuck up there and have to crash your own game to get down. There was also another exploit in that version that was the first ever X-ray glitch. It could be done by simply digging yourself into a hole and placing a sand block on your head, which will allow you to see any nearby caves or lava. You know, I wouldn't consider either of these glitches exploits though, since there wasn't really much harm in doing them since survival wasn't a thing yet. In fact, I would go as far to say as they were both useless. After Classic ended towards the end of 2009, the InDev and InfDev stage arrived. This is where we would finally see people making grinding pointless in the game, with the first ever duplication glitches. Some players figured out how to make a bugged block, which in other words is an infinite block. What you would do was set up a small wooden house structure like this with a 2-block high wall and a 2-block hole. You would then dispose of the item you want to glitch while aiming your crosshair right to the side of the block. If you aim it correctly, the last block dropped will become infinite and you have now beaten the game. Another glitch, which isn't really a glitch, but I'm gonna mention it anyways because it's funny. If you set your world type to floating island, these random woman NPCs that Notch added will walk off the sides of the map without hesitating once and just fall to their death. Now, we've talked a little bit about the first glitches that players have found and used, but during the InDev and InfDev stage, there was also a couple of strange glitches in the game itself. During the InDev stage, before the world became infinitely generated, you could use the game's setting files to mess with your player positioning and set your coordinates outside of the small spawn region you were limited to. And as you put yourself further out, the game starts to get more and more interesting. First, blocks lose their texture and their hitboxes start to change into cursed shapes. Go a little further and you'll fall endlessly into the void. Then, if you set yourself far out enough, your game will freak out and crash. Another strange glitch that occurred is the Farlands. The Farlands is a world generation glitch that happened in the InfDev stages of the game when the world became infinitely generated. This massive world generation glitch acts as the world border we have today. It is technically the end of the world, and you would have to walk roughly 12 million blocks from spawn to find it. You know, 12 million, that's apparently how far my parents had to walk to school every day, so it can't be that far. But yeah, overall, it looks like a 5-year-old designed that part of the map. Alright, so now we move into the alpha version of the game during late 2010, which out of all the versions was probably the most wackiest and most glitchy. This was also when survival multiplayer was released, so now glitches and exploits that used to be harmless could now be used on servers for unfair advantages. Let's start with the several new duplication glitches that were discovered first. Ethos Lab figured out a glitch which he called the wood generator. It was done by placing boats in the middle of a small square build like this, consisted of cactuses on each corner. When you place a boat down, it'll break, and you actually make a quick profit, getting more wood than what it would usually drop. Pretty nice. Another much more unique and creative block duplication glitch was done by towering all the way up to the build limit, then creating a bridge below the build limit so you can still place blocks down. Once you place the blocks you want to duplicate, save your game, mine the blocks, and then manually crash your game by placing a singular sign so it goes above the sky limit. Yeah, this would crash your game somehow, and once you load back in, you'll have the blocks still in your inventory, and they'll also be there for you to mine. There's also some pretty interesting glitches besides dupes that the community had found during alpha, one of which was extremely useful, called the minecart booster glitch, which was used before powered rails were added to the game and when it was very hard to get minecarts to go up slopes since Steve is so damn fat. It was a simple glitch to do. You would have your main rail tracks with your minecart on it, and then to the side you would have a booster track track with another minecart on it. When you ride past on the main track, you link together with the booster minecart and it gives you incredible amounts of speed to travel further and faster. Although this is technically an exploited glitch, it was used across the entire community and was extremely helpful. But hey, maybe you don't want to travel by minecart to your destination, but instead, you want to fly a pig. Yeah, probably one of the funniest glitches was when you were able to put a saddle on a pig, and with the newly added fishing rods, you could spam right click which would reel in that massive pig over and over again, ultimately sending you into the air. I guess that's the easiest way to get the when pigs fly advancement, am I right? Also, placing a sign on a cactus would crash your game. Placing a sign at height limit like we saw earlier would crash your game. Herobrine would crash your game. Sometimes pressing F10 would crash your game. And for some reason, if you pressed F4, you could spawn in nether portals. Oh, you think that was bad? Well, beta version is going to be just as bad. In 2011, during the beta stage, it just happened to be the time when Redstone was added to the game. And if you know anything about Redstone, you know people love to destroy the game with it. Now, I could go on and on about the different types of duplication glitches made with Redstone, but in this video, I'm only going to mention a few, considering there are probably dozens found in this version alone. The first major game-breaking Redstone glitch was the piston block printer. By creating an automatic on and off redstone circle like this and using a regular piston and a sticky piston, you can place a block in between the pistons and they'll duplicate it by pushing out copies of the original block, allowing you to mine it infinitely. This is exactly how the government in real life makes money. A player by the name of Kirshar decided to take this glitch to the next level by creating an infinite TNT cannon using the same piston glitch to restock the TNT. Another dupe exploit that was found was done by using a nether portal, which hopefully from alpha you had some left over by pressing F4, a crafting table, and some water. What you would do was slowly slide into the nether portal, and before you're about to go in, you open the crafting table and place an item inside. When you touch the portal, 2 items will be dropped, the original one and a glitched one that is infinite, which can be used as many times as you want, like we saw in the one in the classic glitch from earlier. Staying on the topic of the nether, you could get water inside of the nether. I know you're asking, how is that possible? Well, if you obtained an ice block by mining one with the silk touch pickaxe and brought it into the nether with you, melted it with some torches, it would create a water source block that, when updated, would flow into the nether. You could turn entire lava lakes into obsidian in just a few seconds to get across if you carried ice blocks on you, and that's what a lot of players did. Now, as we get into the actual release of the game in late 2011, the Minecraft player base and content in the game are growing at an insanely fast rate, meaning new glitches are coming and going much more frequently. Therefore, talking about every single glitch from the past 16 versions would be nearly impossible, so I'm just gonna talk about the most interesting and game-breaking ones. We'll start right at the beginning of the game's official release in version 1.0. A pretty fun glitch that was found by players involved minecarts. If you were to set up a small ramp going downwards into a small wall, the minecarts would fall onto each other and stack. And when you get a few of them in there, you could just push them off and they would fly off into the distance, bypassing all known laws of physics. Just like many other glitches, this has been patched, although you can do something similar with the TNT minecarts in present day versions from stacking them from beneath. Like, wouldn't it be a shame if I pushed this 5,000 metric tons of TNT right into this innocent village? I don't care, launch that right into the center of town. Now, this next exploit has existed since 2013, specifically on early console editions of the game. This glitch would be huge for enchanting because sometimes when you finally get to level 30 and decide to enchant, the game ends up scamming you with the knockback 2 sword. This was no problem for console players though, because by using the manual save features, you could save your game right before you enchant and see if you get what you want. If you end up getting something bad, no big deal, you can crash your game on purpose by turning off the console, and when you reload the world, you have another chance. I actually fondly remember using this glitch back when I used to play the Xbox 360 edition of Minecraft. It was an absolute game-breaking exploit that could save you so much time. Also in 2013, saplings were so powerful, they could grow through blocks. Alright, let's fast forward a little bit to 2016 during version 1.11, when one of the most lucrative dupe exploits in the game's history was found by the community. This glitch was called the donkey dupe. To do this glitch, you would have to have an active ender portal and remove the first 6 end gateway portal blocks by placing lava on the very top of the frames next to them. After that, clear the area below the portal and set up signs like this, and place one lava source block to the side, and then place water down in front of it so it flows in the same direction. Then transport a donkey to the portal room and place your 5 dirt blocks in that chest equipped on the donkey. Next, get the donkey down to half a heart, and when you do that, you push the donkey into the water. It'll die from the lava and drop the items. But if you go into the end, the donkey will be there alive and well, with the items still intact. And I mean, that's pretty inhumane of a dupe, but who cares? You got your dupe. Staying on the topic of the end dimension, a very experienced player by the name of Rayworks built probably one of the most insane mob farm using glitches I've ever seen, an Ender Dragon farm. I had no idea that ever existed or was possible, but here's how you do it. Make a redstone conveyor that pushes an Ender Dragon into an end gateway. Dragon gets teleported into a cage you made, kill the dragon with TNT, leave its chunks during the death animation so you get 12,000 XP each time, repeat, and there you go, 6 million XP per hour, and in just 15 days you'll reach the level cap of 21,863. Similar to the flying pig glitch during 1.15, you were able to fly using minecarts by doing basically the same thing. Hook onto the cart, spam fishing rod, and there you go. And of course, it would be wrong of me not to mention the classic boat flying glitch that Dream uses in his manhunts. Now, as we get into present day, we can see new glitches being found by the community left and right, even in unreleased versions of the game like 1.17. And that isn't even a joke. Several new glitches have already been found in the snapshots of the Caves and Cliffs updates. For example, you can dupe an entire stack of whatever item you wanted dozens of times in about a minute by using the newly added bundles. Overall though, with new items and new features coming out almost every year, the community will never stop trying to exploit the game to push it to its limits, and that's just how it goes. Although, I'm still waiting on someone to find a working girlfriend dupe.